airspace intruder.
Southern California now have a new toy to keep them busy.
A man wearing a jetpack.
The investigators are skeptical it was, in fact, a jetpack. Jetpacks like this one from LA-based
These jetpacks are the latest craze hitting beaches across the country.
Jetpack Aviation are not common.
The jetpack is controlled by pulling up or down on the arms.
What if soldiers could fly? Literally. Imagine a Marine soaring over enemy lines, dodging gunfire in midair, landing behind cover, and vanishing before the enemy even realizes he was there. Sounds like science fiction, right? Not anymore. From failed Cold War prototypes to cutting-edge modern units tested by special forces today, jetpacks are no longer just fantasy. They're becoming battlefield reality.
Thankfully, this didn't end in a splashdown. The Mail this morning has a picture of a jet fighter. You can just see up here, this is this guy here. He's a Royal Marine testing out what's described here as the future of warfare. It's a kind of Iron Man type rocket suit, which they're trialling on the ship on board HMS Tamar there. A gravity jet suit, which allows servicemen and women to sort of basically fly through the air and potentially land on enemy ships out at sea. God, you wouldn't want to try it, would you? Apparently it goes 85, maybe you would want to try it, 85 miles an hour? Imagine flying through the air at 85 miles an hour. There we go. But the Royal Marines trying that out in the Atlantic at the moment.
In this video, we're diving deep into the evolution of jetpacks in military history. We'll cover the wild early designs, why they failed, and how modern technology, fueled by AI, miniaturization, and private sector innovation, is bringing personal flight into the hands of elite soldiers. This is the story of how militaries around the world are turning science fiction into a strategic advantage.
And before we go, and I've got to use this voice, it's not a bird, it's not a plane. As it turns out, it's a jet suit. Take a look at this amazing video involving the Royal Marines. This soldier is strapped into a jetpack, which has been developed by the company Gravity Industries. He takes off and lands on the ship with ease. Devices like this were initially tested for paramedics. That's one way to arrive with your patient, isn't it? But now the company is testing the military implications that it has. The result is something like a blockbuster film, only this time it's real. It's increasingly seen as a revolution in tactical capability for many special forces and is thought to have a much broader application beyond the maritime field. Without the jet suit, the only method for getting on board that ship would be a helicopter, but he did it with ease.
The dream of personal flight has fascinated militaries for nearly a century. The earliest concepts for jetpacks, or more accurately, rocket belts, date back to the 1950s, when Cold War tensions pushed the United States to explore every possible technological edge. Bell Aerosystems built the first viable version in 1961, called the Bell Rocket Belt. It could lift a pilot about 30 feet in the air and travel up to 60 miles per hour. But only for 20 seconds. That's right, just 20 seconds of flight. The Army tested it, hoping soldiers could leap over minefields or scale cliffs. But the short flight time and dangerous fuel made it impractical for real combat use. Still, the seed was planted. If the concept could be perfected, it could give soldiers unprecedented mobility on the battlefield. The 1960s also saw a surge in public fascination thanks to movies like Thunderball, where James Bond famously used a jetpack to escape gunmen. But behind the scenes, the military remained cautious. Early jetpacks were unstable, incredibly noisy, and vulnerable to small arms fire. The fuel, hydrogen peroxide, was highly volatile. And while the concept looked cool, in real battlefield conditions, it simply wasn't viable. Throughout the 1970s and 1980s, various prototypes were developed by independent inventors, aerospace contractors, and even NASA. The U.S. Army and DARPA occasionally funded jetpack-related research, hoping to find a breakthrough in soldier mobility. But none of these early-stage technologies made it beyond the testing phase. The dream of personal flight remained just out of reach. Then came the 21st century, and with it, a shift in how technology was developed. Instead of governments leading the charge, private inventors and entrepreneurs began exploring personal flight, driven by advances in lightweight materials, microturbines, and digital flight stabilization. One name changed everything: Richard Browning. A former Royal Marine and founder of Gravity Industries, Browning unveiled the Daedalus flight suit in 2017, a fully functional jet suit powered by miniature turbines attached to the arms and back. It wasn't just real. It was remarkably agile and stable. Unlike older jetpacks that struggled with balance and control, Browning's suit used arm-mounted engines to allow the pilot to steer using natural body movement. He could hover, turn, and land precisely. Suddenly, jetpacks weren't a gimmick, they were a tool. The British Royal Navy tested the suit for shipboarding operations. In these trials, soldiers flew from small rigid hull boats onto ship decks in seconds, completely bypassing traditional ladders or rope lines. The U.S. Special Operations Command also showed interest, running evaluations on how this technology could assist urban warfare, scouting, or rapid insertion missions. So why the sudden military interest? In a word, mobility. Jetpacks offer a new kind of verticality in warfare, especially in tight urban environments or rugged terrain where vehicles can't go. Imagine a scout being able to fly up to a rooftop without using stairs, or a medic reaching a wounded soldier on a cliffside in seconds. Special operations teams could use jetpacks to leap into enemy territory, grab a high-value target, and exit just as fast, all without using a helicopter that would need a larger landing zone and create far more noise. And when minutes can mean the difference between mission success or failure, jetpacks offer a critical edge. That said, jetpacks today are still limited. Current models are loud, fuel-hungry, and not yet suitable for long-range flight. Most units use either kerosene or jet fuel and can stay airborne for only 5 to 10 minutes. But even that brief window can be game-changing in the right scenario. And it's not just Western militaries taking notice. Countries like France, Russia, and China are also investing in personal flight systems. French inventor Frankie Zapata captured headlines when he crossed the English Channel on his Flyboard Air, a turbine-powered hoverboard that reached over 100 miles per hour. While originally designed for sport and showmanship, the French military began working with Zapata to explore defense applications. China, meanwhile, has kept its programs mostly secret, but leaked footage and patent filings suggest that the PLA is actively developing small-scale vertical takeoff systems and exoskeleton-assisted mobility tech, possibly incorporating jet propulsion for specific scenarios. The real game-changer on the horizon is the combination of jetpack tech with AI-powered stabilization and augmented reality. Future models may be easier to fly, automatically adjusting for wind, balance, and altitude, allowing even an average soldier to use them with minimal training. AR displays could overlay battlefield data directly into the visor, turning every pilot into a flying reconnaissance unit. What's also exciting is the parallel development of silent jetpack systems using electric fans or ducted propulsion. These systems won't be as fast as turbine-powered versions, but they could be ideal for stealth missions, quiet, agile, and hard to detect on radar or infrared. As we look forward, the most likely uses for jetpacks in the military will be focused and strategic: boarding ships, reaching high-value positions, disaster response, or urban combat. They won't replace helicopters or paratroopers, but they'll offer new tactical options that didn't exist before. From a failed rocket belt in the 1960s to today's test runs with special forces, the journey of military jetpacks is a story of persistence, innovation, and imagination. And as technology continues to evolve, we're closer than ever to seeing gravity-defying soldiers become standard assets in tomorrow's armed forces. So next time you see a jetpack demonstration, don't just think cool gadget. Think battlefield advantage. Because in the wars of the future, whoever controls the skies, even just a few feet above the ground, might just control the outcome.